word kingdom man, what comes to mind? Did you want to go first? Or you just going to go? Oh, wait, it's no wrong answers. Just whatever comes to mind in 30 seconds or less. Whatever you think about. There's no wrong answer. Just what your opinion is.
A kingdom man, which is a man that works in the kingdom for the kingdom. So it could be a servant in the kingdom. It could be the king in the kingdom. It could be the scribe. It could be anything. But as long as you're doing your work diligently and faithfully, then you're a kingdom man.
I love that. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Tristan, come on up. Who's a kingdom man to you? Come on. Share with us. When you hear the word kingdom man, what comes to your mind? It's your own personal answer.
I feel like a kingdom man is like somebody who pretty much no matter what you go through in life, you forever got God on your side.
Wow.
So like always go that way and you a kingdom of men. And then just it builds a communion. I think that's the word where you gather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I like that. All right. Henry. Who is a kingdom man to you? Come on closer.
I think for me, a kingdom man is someone whose life is structured around the Word of God. So, yeah, that's what a kingdom man is to me.
I like that. Life is structured around. That's a nice big word. Come on, Chef Key. Who's a kingdom man to you?
I think a kingdom man is somebody who is submitted to the Lord in all his ways.
Wow.
I think of the scripture, Proverbs 3:5, where it says, in all your ways acknowledge him and he'll direct your path. So like, I think if that's like the prerequisite of like, you know, your life and everything that everything that you have an outlook on, then like that's what a kingdom man is. So.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. Joshua. Talk to us, Doc. What's a kingdom man to you?
I think a kingdom man is it is one who reflects the standards of a kingdom.
Yes, sir.
And that's in word, that's in deed, that's in thought, that's in heart. That's in general of what I think a kingdom.
That's good. I like
kingdom
that.
man is.
I like that. You reflect in thoughts and deed. Eric, come on, Doc. To the Faith Filled Church podcast. Who's a kingdom man to you, Doc?
It's someone who lives according to the standard of holiness.
Wow.
That's that Jesus Christ like originally first defined. So
wow.
Yeah.
I like that. Did you go already? No. Okay. Come on, Israel.
I'll just say that I would just say someone that reflects Christ. They're Christ on earth, really. So
wow.
That's what I would say.
Someone that y'all hear the recurring theme of this kingdom man piece? Someone that reflects Christ, someone that lives like Christ, someone that represents the kingdom in a way. But let me ask this question though. How much of us truly say that's us every day? Think about it. How extremely difficult it is to be a man in the United States of America. I want to give y'all some facts that may shock you, or may not, but these are just facts nonetheless. And Minister Joseph, you can join us. I promise I will not move again. I will be stuck to this place. I want to give you some facts about what happens when a man is out of place. It's very interesting in our day and time to recognize that God, yes, he created man in his own image and likeness, but there's something critical about men. Men. It's odd that men who have the inability to get pregnant, you know, we can't even carry a child, but yet we carry seed. You know that a man who is 80 years old can still get somebody pregnant versus a woman who's 80 years old getting pregnant. A man has so much seed to be able to feed and give to so many women and birth children, but a woman has limited eggs in her body. This is just scientific facts. What is it about men? What is it about you that God is so invested and interested in, so much so that when Jesus came to the earth, he started off finding 12 men? What is it about men? What is it about being a kingdom man? And what happens when a man is absent? Really quickly, the camera is on me, it's not on you, so you're safe. Who in here grew up with an absent father? Yeah. I want to read you something. This is according to 2022. 18.4 million children, about 1 in 4, live without a biological step or adoptive father in the home. 18.4 million. Households without fathers make up a significant portion of single-parent families, with 80% of single-parent homes led by mothers. Just giving you facts. Children in father-absent homes are 4 times more likely to live in poverty. 4 times. 57% of fatherless households in the U.S. live below the poverty line compared to 11% of 2-parent homes. Let's talk about education. Children without fathers are 2 times more likely to drop out of high school, according to the National Center for Education Stats. They are also more likely to have lower academic performance and struggle with reading and math scores. When it comes to our emotional and behavioral health, fatherless children are at greater risk of substance abuse, depression, anxiety, and all kinds of mental illness. 71% of high school dropouts, fatherless. 85% of youth in prison, fatherless. 90% of homeless runaway children come from fatherless homes. Boys raised without fathers are twice as likely to end up in jail by age 30. This is done by Harper and McLahan in Princeton University. Father's absence is linked to higher levels of violent crime and gang involvement. And here it is. Girls raised without fathers are 7 times more likely to become pregnant as teenagers, according to the National Campaign to Prevent Teen Pregnancy. Children from absent father homes often show weaker social skills and struggle with long-term relational stability. Now, let's take a breather. When you hear these stats, how does it make you feel? We can pass it around. Go ahead. How does it make you feel? You can say the same words, it doesn't matter.
More understanding, like when it comes to it, especially like the reading part. That's all that stuff that you read. That's true. Being incarcerated, street, like all that, is facts.
So reading this, even for you, it's realer than numbers because you experienced that.
The numbers, like, they show online,
Yeah.
but when you live it,
It's different.
it's different.
So do you feel like your life would have been different if you had a father that was present?
Most likely,
Wow.
probably know a lot more.
Okay. Anybody else? I'll take one more.
It made me feel a few ways. It made me partially feel. It made me partially feel grateful because I've experienced that, but some of that stuff I didn't have to live.
Yeah.
But it also made me have a heart even more for those, because working with kids, I see these things, and like I said before, that speaks out to me, that sticks out to me. So I'm seeing these kids that are experiencing this and living this life, and they don't have the opportunity because there's no one in their life to father them, and so I have a heart for them, definitely even more.
Wow. You see, to understand men, to understand anything, we must understand first its purpose. If you've been under this ministry or you're watching online, you know that purpose is the reason why something is created. And so God created man, which also means that God has the answer for man. I want you to write that down. God has the answer for man. Whoever creates a thing has the answer for the problem of that thing. Whoever creates a thing has the answer for the problem of that thing. And so God created man, and we see this in Genesis, and I'll read this for you. 1 from verse 26. It says, Then God said, Let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the heavens, over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. That word there, image and likeness, stands out to me. You see, the word image in the Hebrew is salem, which means resemblance. The word likeness is the Hebrew word demut, which means manner, fashion, or similitude. I'm just going to say manner. In other words, the image and likeness of God does not deal with mere physical properties. It doesn't deal with physical traits, because if it did, then God would look very, very funny. God would look dark, light, orange, short, tall, big, fat, skinny. It doesn't deal with his image in the way that we think of image, but it deals with resemblance, looking like him. God is a spirit, as John chapter 4, verse 24 says. And whoever will worship him in spirit and in truth. So if God is a spirit, we have to look like the spirit. And how do we look like the spirit? Galatians 5 and 22. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, right? And then we have to have his manner, like Joshua said, the manner of God. What is the manner of God? And so for us to understand man, who do we need to understand first? So we're going to do a little Godology today, or theology as they would say it. Genesis chapter 1 and 2, it gives us a breakdown of how God works and how he functions. You see, it begins with letting us know that God created the beginning. Literally, the beginning. God created the beginning. That's important because God is not the one that we see in Genesis 1 and 1, that now this is the beginning of God. But rather, this is the beginning of beginnings created by God, who is outside the beginning. All right? And so God created the beginning and was before the beginning. He has no beginning and no end. This lets us know God's skillful ability. Genesis 1 says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. In the beginning. So first thing we see about God, you already got this? Remember, we're trying to study God so we can understand man. So first thing we see about God is God is a creator. Remember, we're trying to study God so we can understand men. So if God is a creator, what other statement can I make about man? Man is a... That's just not the only important thing. Write down in your notes, I am a creator. But that's not the most important thing. It's anybody can create in good times. Anybody can create when things are perfect. But what kind of creation did God do in his time? That's what matters. Look at this. Genesis chapter 1, from verse 1 and 2, verses 1 and 2 says, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the water. Catch this. First, we see that God is a creator. Then we are introduced to the environment at which he creates. That God did not just create in a beautiful environment, but he created in an environment that was desolate, a place of tragedy, a place that was filthy, and it did not hinder God's creativity. Neither did it hinder his silence. You see, many of us, and especially myself, it's hard for me sometimes to be creative in chaos. You know, people, sometimes ladies, I don't judge them, but they don't understand that men, like, we have minds too. Sometimes women think men don't have emotional, don't deal with anything they deal with. But it's naturally easy for somebody to see chaos and go, I'm going to sit this one out. It's too chaotic. I don't want to be a part of it. It's natural for us. God saw chaos. But what was his response? What do you do when your word is in chaos? That word there, desolation and ruin, is what it means when it says without form and void. They don't. It's what it means when it says without form and void. That God literally created, and immediately after the creation, what we see is a place that was without form, void, darkness over the face of the deep. We're in Genesis 1 and 1. Darkness over the face of the deep. Do you understand that we begin the book of Genesis seeing God through the lens of being a creator in a place of desolation? Point number one. As a man, when faced with desolation, God needs your creativity. Yes, sir. Put on that God needs my creativity. When things are chaotic, when things look bad, when things look filthy, God needs your creativity. When things are going crazy in the marriage, when things are going crazy in your life, when things are going crazy in school, in the farm, when things are going crazy everywhere, God needs your creativity. It's important. But the question is, all of us in here are men of different traits, different skill level, different attributes, if you may. If I were to ask you, and you can shout your answer out loud, if I asked you right now that there is a creator who's getting ready to create something, what do you think the items they will use to create when they see mess? What would they use to create? Just random thoughts. A hammer? Okay, hammer. A chisel? Oh. Hammer, chisel. A knife, scissors, nails, right? Because if there's chaos and you want to create out of a chaotic place, you would naturally think the tool to use is tools that we normally see in Home Depot, Lowe's. But look at the first tool God used. Are you ready for it? It says, and the earth was without form and void in verse 2, and darkness over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the water. And then it says, and God said. The first weapon of choice God used for his creativity was his voice. God said. The greatest tool in chaos was God said. In other words, in Genesis, we are introduced to a talking God. A God that doesn't keep silent in chaos, in confusion, in ruin. God is a talking God. Discovery number 2. God is a talking God. Remember, we are looking to discover God so we can understand man, because if God created man in his image and likeness, that means the more we understand God, the more we understand man. And if God is a creator, that means man is a creator. If God is a talking God, what does that mean? Man is a talking man. Man is a talking man. Catch this. If he made man in his image and likeness, in chaos and ruin, your greatest asset is your voice. My greatest asset is my voice. The greatest asset. The greatest asset. The greatest asset. God said, let there be light. He spoke in the midst of chaos and confusion, in the midst of ridiculous ruin, distinguishable ruin. It was so bad, and he said, let there be light. And what happened? And there was light. Catch this. Your voice has the capacity to change your environment. Your voice can change your environment. My voice can change my environment. This is why the enemy wants to keep you silent. Even society. I had a discussion with a lady the other day, and it wasn't a heated argument, but it was a strong disagreement. Society perpetuates the ideology that men are more quieter, and that's not true. It's not true. There's this agenda that's pushing for men to be silent, for us to be quiet. And so I was talking to the lady, and I began to talk to her. I said, she was like, well, men are quiet. Men are always quiet. Men don't talk. I said, you ain't never been to the barber shop. Because if you've been to the barber shop, if you've been to the game, if you've been to the bar, then you recognize that men talk a lot more than women do. They do. But we have been pushed and programmed to keep silence in the places where our voice actually matters. The highest place where you find a man talking is a bar, a barber shop, sporting events, or if they're yelling. Satan has programmed you for your voice to literally only be useful in purposeless areas. Areas where change can't happen. Areas where it doesn't even matter. So if you walk into a casual barber shop, you can have a man on there talking. And what is a normal conversation? Sports, women, music. That is a normal conversation in any barbershop you go to. God, we have been programmed to be silent at home, quiet in church, but in the game, yeah! Satan did not deceive us for our voice to be quiet. He deceived us for your voice to be utilized in purposeless areas where change can't even happen. So naturally, what happens is when it does matter, then we're quiet. And when it doesn't matter, we're loud. Look at Proverbs 18 and 21. It says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it and indulge it will eat its fruit and bear the consequence of their words. Proverbs 18 and 21. Death and life. Death and life are in the power of your tongue. Write this down. My words shape my world. Your words shape your world. It does. Your words shape your world. But I'll be honest, it doesn't just stop with your word. Your words shape your life. It shapes your marriage. It shapes your wife. It shapes your kids. Shapes your future. What you say matters, and what you don't say matters. Are you ready for this? Write this down. What you say is what becomes. What you don't say is what never changes. What you say is what becomes. If you want to write it in shorter words, say equals to be. Don't say equals never change. It says, God said, let there be light, and there was light. That what he said became. What you say becomes your life, becomes your marriage, becomes your wife, becomes your kids, becomes your future. Your words is shaping your life. Your words are shaping your life. That's why the enemy wants us to be silent. Your words are literally shaping your life. What you say is what be. What you say. But here's the problem. What you don't say never changes. It never changes. Our brother Tristan shared with us, and you said it publicly so I can say it again. He said he probably would have learned more, become more, if he had an active father in his life. I dare challenge that thought to say, there are people who even had a father in their life who never spoke. Who even had a quiet dad. Yeah. So many times, even within the African culture and the American culture, we have a presence things never changed. Because presence, just being there, just because God was on earth did not mean earth was going to change. It did not change until God spoke. What you don't speak never changed. And so there are fathers, there are husbands, there are men who say, my presence is enough. But God was on earth. The Spirit was hovering over the face of the waters. Yet nothing changed until God spoke. So just being present is not enough. I got to speak. Write that down. Just because you are in that woman's life, you are in that church, you are in that marriage, you are in this business, you are in that company, your presence is not enough. Your voice is what makes the change. What you say, be. What you don't say, never changes. What you say, be. What you don't change, what you don't say, never changes. What you say, be. What you don't say, never changes. My question to you is, what are you saying? And number two, what are you not saying? You know, being a man in this world is tough. It's really hard. I was having a discussion with another man. He's from Chicago. We met at a conference, and we began to talk about men and how hard it is for men. And he began to share with me. He said, "Men have sometimes we have become dumping grounds for women. We have sometimes, because a woman would tell you something like, I just want you to, what's the L word? Listen to me. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But because society has perpetuated that we don't have much to say. So we find ourselves in a place where many men are in relationships, jobs, businesses where their own opinion don't count. The man has not been heard. His thoughts are not being seen. The difference between a man and a woman many times is a woman gives you multiple chances. She'll talk to you. If you don't listen to her, she'll talk to you again and again and again. She'll try until one day she'll give up and then find us a girlfriend or guy or somebody that she'll talk to. She'll do that over and over again. She might cry about it and say, you just don't listen to me. I just need you to listen to me. She'll give you chances and chances. But a man, you only got about two. You don't listen to a man one time and he's gone. Many men are in marriages where they're gone. You say, what do you mean, Pastor, when you say gone? Gone means now all I have to give is my presence. Okay, how much is the bills? $3,000. Boom, sent. Can you walk the kids to school? Okay. Can you mow the lawn? All right. Can you make some food? Okay. Can you listen to me? Okay. Maybe you don't talk. No, it's not that I don't talk. It's when I didn't listen or you didn't understand. And unlike women, a man, when he gets shut down one time, that's all it takes. And so many people are in businesses, life, marriage, wife, kids, future, that unfortunately never change. Because you don't have any place to talk. No place to say, man, This is what I'm going through. And if you never talk, it never changes. You ask a man right now, how are you doing? And I'm straight. I'm good. Listen, 1 in 5 men are in desperate need of a shoulder to cry on. The average man struggles internally with anxiety and depression. But we mask it because we have to always keep being Superman. The best part I love about this recent Superman movie that I watched, and I'll go back and watch it again, was that Lois knew who Clark Kent was, and also knew that he was Superman. Many of us, we don't have Lois at home. Your Lois only know you as Superman. I'm not just talking about relationships. Your mama, your daddy, your church. Some people, it's hard for us to really talk and be who we are because everybody only knows you as who shows up every time. They only know you as ta-na-na, ta-na-na, ta-ta-ta, and you just come out there and you're broken, you're beaten, you're hurting, you're bleeding, and all they do is keep performing. And so many of us, we are performing in pain because we can't talk. Yet God is a talking God. We're performing in hurt because we can't talk. Because, see, we don't trust anybody. Because the last person we trusted probably shunned you off or told you the famous words every father would say to their child. Be a man. I heard a lady once said, you talking too much like a... Yeah. So imagine you tell young kids, see how much boys have been trained and groomed. You tell young boys that from young age. You talk too much, that's girly. Boy, you talk like a girl, man, be quiet. And you train up that young boy to think that talking is girly. I don't like a man that talk too much. Have we seen that post somewhere? Everywhere you go to the point that society has trained you to think that talking is a flaw of man. So now we have been trained to believe that you are more manly the more quiet you are. Question is, are you more manly than God? He saw chaos. He saw ruin. I have so much notes. I'm barely at page 1. I got 5 notes. But the Holy Ghost said you got to stop here. He saw chaos. He saw ruin. He saw devastation. And God said. He saw trials. He saw tribulation. He saw a word that was without form and void. And God said. Listen, nothing will change in your life if you don't talk. Nothing will change in your marriage if you don't talk. Nothing will change with your wife if you don't talk. Nothing will change with your kids. Nothing will change with your future. You have to be like God. And God is not a silent God. He's not silent. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. I've had many moments where I'm like, man, this is not manly. I gotta be quiet. Man, you talking too much, Josh. You talking too much. That's girly. And there's no scripture for that. There's no Bible verse for that. There's no Bible verse. And many of us, we have allowed our word to become ran by women to the point that now our men want to be women. because we stopped talking. So a man would have to act like a woman just so he can talk. Because we're not talking. How you doing? And I'm good. Or the best ones. I'm just going through a season of transition. But you sit down with a girl and she gets a chance to cry. Do you know that scientists and psychologists have proven that even just merely shedding a tear is a form of a release? How many men have never released? Let me ask you a question. True, transparent question. And you don't have to answer. When was the last time you cried? I know it. I know the answer. And I don't cry like that, bro. I don't. We could just skip over that whole Jesus wept scene, you know. I don't cry like that, but men don't cry. Right? Men don't shed no emotion. And you're a man, bro. Man up. What does that mean? There's no Bible verse that says man up. What does it mean to man up? When was the last time you shed a tear? My married folks, when was the last time you cried to your wife? Last time. When was the last time you say, baby, it's hard? I don't know if I could do all of this on my own. When was the last time you called another brother and said, man, look, it's tough and I just need somebody to cry to. I just need a place to lay my shoulders and just shed a tear for a moment. I need to express to you how difficult life has been in this season. I need to be able to tell you that it's been hard. I need to talk so that way things could be. The more quiet I am, things never change. I have to learn to talk. I have to learn to talk. Your brother's not going to know what you're going through. I told Josh as soon as he walked in, I kid you not, I had told my wife, I said, I'm about to call him. I said, if I don't see Josh show up today, I said, I'm going to call him, and I was going to ask him, where you stay, bro, because I'm about to come see you. You good? I can see you in a week. I don't know. You get a week with me. God texted you. You get 1 week with me. I'm a 1 week guy. If I go 1 week and I don't see you, I don't hear from you, the second week, I'm going to give you a chance. If I don't, I'm calling you. If I don't see you that third week, I'm coming to your house. In the fourth week, I'm like, okay, did you find a new church? What's going on? You good? But brothers, we need each other. I know it's hard to trust. Don't get me wrong. Even me, myself, I have to force myself. That's why I'm so glad Apple got this iPhone voice message thing. Because everybody know when we start typing our feelings, halfway through, we're like, man, delete. Maybe it's just me. I be typing halfway and I'm like, this too much. But it's so much easier to just be like, you know how bad this is, y'all? To the point that even men don't like therapy. Look at the stats of how many men go to therapy versus women. And do you know there's no therapy in the Bible? You know the greatest therapy verse in the Bible? Confess your faults one to another, so that you may be healed. What do you do in therapy? What verse? Look it up. Pull out your phone. Look it up so you can know it. If I tell you, you're going to forget. Confess your sins. Confess your faults one to another, that you may be healed. Not you looking up to the phone. That works too. Did you see it? Now save it on your phone. Put it as your screen talk. When was the last time you confessed to somebody? You know who know how to do this really well? And they're generally happy? Catholics. They got a priest in some house that can keep a secret. Catholics have integrated in their culture therapy for free. I said, God, I ought to be a Catholic. It's free therapy. You just go in there and be like, yo, I did it again. I did it again. And the priest like, oh man, and you just go about your business. Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 Just be quiet and just move on. But guess what just happened? That person just talked. Just talked. If I would ask a question, I would ask, what do you have to say that you've been holding back? What do you have to say to your brother? Catch this. What do you have to say to your father?